Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ruins of Warsaw, episode 72nd. I'm Alexandra, and I'm the storyteller.
Hi, I'm Dolores, and I'm playing Janina of Clan Bruja.
Hi, my name is Faye, and I'm playing Beatrice Wozniak of Clan Malkavian.
And as always, we have partners taking care of the chat and tech for us. Thank you, partners. And thank you all so much for joining us for yet another episode in the story of our kindred in Warsaw in the 1940s. We will start, as always, with a quick recap of what happened previously. Janina was returning to her haven, distressed after first witnessing death of her sire Daniel, and then after being denied revenge by her lover, or former lover now, Nastya, who stopped her from destroying the Sabbat Zimishi Zimowit, who killed Daniel. Janina returned to the haven and hid in a bathroom to cry, overwhelmed by everything that happened. Meanwhile, Bea was also hiding, feeling overwhelmed by the pressure put on her and the risks involved in her task and her association with Clan Tremere. There, in the ruined city, she was visited by her primogene, who warned her that she caught eye of dangerous beings, made a strange comment that there was no two of her, and urged her to decide who she wanted to be, since she could be anything but needed to be something. They also told Bea that her sister needed her help. And worried for Janina, Bea started searching for her and found her at their haven. There she consoled her for a long time, and they talked, through which Bea learned what happened to Daniel, and also learned that Nastya said that Bea's sire Felicia has been seen with Bea at the Sabbat Haven. Bea also told Janina that she was about to leave to possibly complete her task with Arek the following night. And she warned Janina that most likely the Sabbat Malkavian Irmina was still wearing her own face. After the conversation, Bea returned to Hotel Bristol, and Janina stayed at the haven, wanting to be away from other kindred for a while. She, however, got a call from Magda de Tremere, who expressed concern for her, having heard what happened, and asked if Janina needed some blood, whether she was all right. Janina assured her that she was okay and said she would return to Hotel Bristol, but not quite right now. Back at the hotel, Bea met with Antoni Bielecki, the sheriff, and her beloved. They spent the little time they had together discussing what happened with Daniel when Antoni and his hounds tried to kill Nastya. Antoni indicated that he will need to speak to Janina, but was relieved to hear that she was all right. He was also very worried about Bea and told her that he will come for her if she doesn't return for a long time. Next night, Janina still didn't want to return to the hotel. But when she woke up, she found her ghoul, Hannah, in the haven, who brought her some blood from the hospital. Hannah saw that Janina was wounded and didn't fully heal even after drinking the blood that was brought. And then she offered her own blood to Janina, which Janina refused and instead went to hunt. but she noticed that Hannah, out of certain curiosity or concern, followed her. And Janina allowed her to stay close in a distance while she hunted. When she returned to Hannah, she found her ghoul rather unnerved by witnessing Janina assaulting a man to drink a bit of blood from him, and got even more unnerved when she questioned Janina about this practice and realized that there were occasions when Janina accidentally hurt somebody and killed somebody, even though Janina tried to hide this fact. Um, Meanwhile, this night was the time for Bea to leave, so she went to free Arek, the Sabbat gangrel. She found him covered in occult symbols carved into his body, got him out of the hotel, and on the way to the garrison where the Sabbat is sometimes staying, Bea helped Arek find a victim to feed from and didn't attempt to stop him when he drained the woman completely dry. She also didn't seem very concerned about it and instead was glad that she could help Arek and followed him uh, towards the garrison. And that was where we ended. And that is where we will pick up. Bea, you are walking towards the garrison. You see the dark silhouettes of the buildings in front of you. You're stepping on the snow that is still relatively undisturbed here. It's crunching under your feet and Arek's feet. You see him walking eagerly ahead, clearly more hope and certain liveliness coming back into his eyes and face as he sees those buildings where you told him his pack would be found. And your memories are, as always, blending together, dissolving one into another. But one is still in your head, still fresh in your thoughts. For a moment, you don't know for how long, refusing to fade away. And you remember before you left this evening, sitting with Antoni in your room as he already put on his coat and shoes and was getting ready to leave to tend to his duties.
I walked to him to just move to sort of straighten his coat for him a little bit, and then look up to him and say, "Could I ask you for a favor?"
Of course.
And I turn to my journal and pull out a series of pages which I've ripped from the journal itself. I shouldn't have these on me while I'm away. Could you hold on to them for me?
Of course. What are these?
My memories. And I've just sort of folded them in a single piece of paper just to have them kept together, and I placed them into his hand.
He takes it and just holds it in his hand for a moment, considering, looks to you and asks, "Are you sure?"
I am. Part of what's keeping me safe, I hope, is the fact that once I forget, even if they look into my mind, it won't be there. I don't want a book to be able to, I don't know.
It's all right. I'll keep them for you.
Thank you. And I press my palm to the side of his face and kiss him once more.
He kisses you and then looks to you, looks into your eyes and asks, will you remember to come back?
I hope so.
If not, I will remind you.
Could you call me?
I can.
I might need reminded. There's a lot of things that I can forget, but feelings aren't one of them. I'll know that I love you.
I love you. I won't leave you in there.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he gives you one more kiss. And then has to go to return to his duties. But you see him put the pieces of paper that you gave him into the pocket on the inside of his suit jacket, tucked in there safely.
It seems apt for it to be close to his heart. But as I get closer and closer to the buildings, I try and allow that memory to slip, to drift. And I focus on the dark outlines, the silhouettes of the looming garrison.
And the memory becomes more hazy. It's not entirely gone yet. The feelings that you felt are still there. And you walk closer, leaving that memory behind. And finally, following Arek, who urges you ahead, you enter the dark inside of the garrison. Meanwhile, Janina, you are walking back with Hannah. She is reassured for the moment, but you saw how tense she got just a moment ago. She's still following you. She seems to trust you, but there is more tension in her body now, and she's looking around as if unnerved.
I just pull her closer to me and just tell her that she doesn't have to be afraid that I'm going to protect her. And that I'm sorry that I scared her. I'm sorry, I have this weird cough
Don't worry.
for like a few weeks, and I just coughing all over the place.
Oh, it will be gone soon, but don't worry about it at all.
Thank you.
Hannah let you pull her closer, doesn't attempt to stop you from it. She nods her head, but is very quiet as you are walking back towards the haven. And as you're about to step inside the building and climb the stairs, she turns to you and says, What happened? Why did you... When those people got hurt, what happened?
She means like the incident with Daniel?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, she means like when you killed somebody.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just confused a bit. Okay. I will just tell her that I'll probably like just tell her that I'll tell her more once we are back in the apartment. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, she follows you into the apartment.
And once we are inside, I'll just sit down on the couch and just tell her that it was because I was hungry, that I wasn't, that I just didn't realize how hungry I was, and that I thought that I will be able to stop, but I wasn't because I was hungry and I wasn't myself.
Can that happen anytime?
No, not while I'm well fed and I'm not terrified. I guess it can happen when you're too angry or too terrified of something, but like an animal, when it gets scared and it just wants to hurt the thing that's causing it pain. But once I'm well fed, you don't have to be scared. I'm not gonna attack you.
Then you need to stay well fed.
I know. I've learned my lesson and I'm trying my best. And you can be my safety pin and just remind me
I will.
to feed. And I just like pat her hair and just smile at her and apologize again. I didn't mean to scare you. I know I should have told you before, but I know all of this was very scary for you and new, and I just needed you to concentrate on your recovery first.
I know you wouldn't hurt someone intentionally.
Thank you. I really wouldn't. I hate that it happened, and I really hope it doesn't happen again.
I will remind you. I'll make sure you feed.
Thank you so much. You're the sweetest.
And she smiles at you and leans against you, relaxing a bit now that she's with you.
I'll just sit and just like pat her hair and just enjoy the fact that she's calmed a bit. And I'm trying to not get too. I'm sorry, like today I'm so slow. Like I don't know. I just
don't worry.
My brain just doesn't work today. Let me think.
Don't worry.
I wanted to say. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. We can take a break and move to bed.
Fine. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me today. But yeah, I just tell her that I'm fine, that I'm gonna be okay, and I'll probably like get up and make tea for her.
She accepts it and warms her hands on it, being clearly cold after being outside, something you don't quite notice anymore.
Yes. Yeah, I think I just, it takes me like a moment like to realize that she's cold, but then I get up and make tea for her to warm her up.
And she smiles at you and thanks you. And we'll come back to you. Meanwhile, Bea, you're entering the garrison. It is dark inside. There is this fragment of barracks you have to pass where it is completely pitch dark. What is in your thoughts? How are you feeling as you're stepping into the building and the darkness of it?
Trepidation, but I'm also glad that Arek's back somewhere where he can hopefully feel more safe, or at least feels more at home. I'm just kind of listening out for his footsteps and following behind him. This place makes me uncomfortable and afraid, but I know that Arek said he'd help me ensure that I wasn't afraid anymore. So.
And you walk through this unsettling place, and the darkness around you seems to be moving around and swirling as you walk through it. But you follow Arek's footsteps, and he's urging you on. You hear his voice, now excited from time to time. And then you step out from the dark barracks into the courtyard, where there is some light just from the moon. And it seems almost entirely empty. But soon, from around the corner, from a different exit from the barracks, steps out a woman with very light hair, straight cut just above her shoulder, wearing a black dress and sturdy military-style shoes, as well as black stone earrings, with a perfect makeup. And she starts walking towards you. There is a vague hint of familiarity. You know you've seen her before. There is this surprised and skeptical at once expression on her face as she starts walking towards you and says, "Wow, I didn't think that was going to happen." And she looks to Arek, and there is some concern on her face that she's not even hiding, and some relief, and she says, "It is good to see you. These cowards will pay for this, I'll make sure of it." And before Arek can respond, her eyes fall on you, and she makes very quick steps towards you and grabs you by your chin, looking you straight into your eyes. So you see her very pale gray eyes in front of you, and just says, "Follow me." How much willpower do you have?
3.
3. Well, I'm gonna roll.
I think it's going to be difficult for her.
I'm gonna roll. That would be many successes.
I am
It's
unsurprised.
6 successes. Yeah. So
I will follow the intense lady.
So your body tenses up and you feel her will crushing yours. Whatever you might have wanted to do, you're not able to at the moment. And you feel like you have to follow her. You can't protest. Arek, however, says, "Wait a moment, she helped me, she brought me here. You don't have to be all like that." To which the woman turns to him, and with a slight smile, not an unfriendly one, on her lips, grabs him by the throat very quickly with her hand, and then stands on one of his legs with one of her shoes, holding him in place in this way. And he tries to flail at her with her arm, but it is still mostly withered, and the other is completely withered. And the woman holds him like that for a moment, looks at him. Back off. I won't damage her for now, but she isn't one of us. And she pushes him so that he stumbles back and hits the wall of one of the barracks. How are you feeling? What's running through your head?
I'm somewhat frightened. I'm more upset in the way she's treating him than the way she's talking to me. I didn't exactly expect I was going to get a warm welcome. So I was not quite mentally ready for it, but had assumed that it was not going to be friendly when I arrived. But seeing him being pushed around, it angers me.
And the woman starts walking across the courtyards, and you can't stop yourself from following. You're aware of Arek standing up and just following after. Clearly observing what's happening, clearly keeping an eye on you. The woman takes you to one of the walls where there are some chains and manacles. Some of these covered in blood. She picks up some of them, has a look, looks at you, and then picks one bigger one and puts a collar around your neck, chaining you to the wall. And then puts an arm on your shoulder. All right, you wait here.
I just stand there, because what else am I going to do?
And she walks a few steps away from you, looks to Arek, and just says, "We need to get you fixed." And then she looks towards one of the different exits from the barracks, where now you can see two figures picking out, one clearly a Nosferatu with rather swollen, lumpy body, and the other man wearing very torn up remains of a Red Army uniform. And the woman calls out towards them, "Hey, Yuri, go grab some food for Arek here." To which the man in the Soviet uniform just laughs. It says, "That pathetic wreck? If he can't hunt, maybe I should have him for lunch." And he starts running up almost towards Arek, who gets ready, clearly, to fight him. Although you see that his arms are still not, he can't raise one of them, the other is mostly restored, but he still can't quite get his claws out, it seems, or doesn't have enough vita for it. But before Yuri gets to him, the woman who's been watching makes just a step in that direction and makes a gesture with her fingers to grab Yuri's attention, and says, "Come here." And he hesitates, looks to Arek, looks to her, and says, "Oh, come on, look at him. He's pathetic. He needed her to drag him out here, couldn't get out himself." And Arek starts replying like, "Fuck you. Just you wait and I'll fuck you up." And he looks ready to like jump the man right here and there. But the woman in black dress takes a few steps forward, crosses eyes with Yuri and just says, "Come here," once again. And he approaches her. And she lets him come very close to her. After which she caresses his face very gently and leans in closely as if she was to kiss him. And then grabs his head and pulls it to the side very strongly. And you hear something snapping in his neck. And still holding on to his short hair, she pushes him down to his knees and then steps on his legs with one of her boots, pushing him to the ground. And you hear something breaking in his legs as he screams, just incoherent scream. And still holding him down with her boots, the woman looks at him and says very calmly, "No, listen. Arek has been with us since before you crawled out of your miserable grave. So you better remember that before you start talking back to me." And then she leaves him there and looks back towards that Nosferatu and says, "Right, Danka, you go or you need a lesson as well." And you see the Nosferatu just shake her head with a smile and disappear in the darkness to exit the barracks. And you see Yuri starting to crawl away in that direction. And the woman comes up to Arek and puts an arm around him and leans in very closely and starts leading him, not quite away from you, but to the different side of the courtyard. And what's running through your head? How are you responding to all of this?
When Yuri started running at Arek, I think that was the first moment where I kind of moved like against the chains and probably felt it sort of catch against my neck, as I'd wanted to get closer and try to help him. But seeing him put in his place, I suppose, I mean, concerned. I'm just waiting to see what happens to him. I'm just so tired and so burnt out. I guess I'm just waiting to find out what happens to me as well. So I sort of step back to loosen the chain around my neck, but otherwise just stand pretty still.
And you see the woman who, it was established, is called Anita, although Bea would not remember that. But I'm just going to use it so it's easier. Take Arek to sit on some half-broken wooden crates in a different side of the courtyards and chats with him. And from time to time, they glance towards you. Do you try to listen in?
I mean, I've not got much else to do, so I guess.
Then roll your perception and alertness with difficulty 6 because of your senses.
Perception and alertness. I'm on penalties right now, aren't I?
Yes, from the nightmares.
Yeah.
So 1 die less.
Yes. Well, incredible start to the session. Absolutely 0 successes, so no idea.
Then you can't hear what they are talking about.
I guess I sort of... How much slack is there in the chains? Can I sit down or am I...
you can sit down. You can sort of move around a little bit. You can sit down. You just can't move too far from the wall.
In which case I kind of move back against the wall and just sort of hunker down. Not like fully sitting, but just... yeah, crouched.
And you sit there, waiting. Meanwhile, Janina, you're sitting with Hannah on the couch in the haven. And she's warming her hands on the tea and drinking it, slowly, savoring every sip. And suddenly, you hear a knock on the window.
Okay, on the window. I just glance at Hannah and just like tell her to like calm down and be okay and just stay at where she is. And I go look to the window.
So you come up to the window and you see clearly that there is a bat that is pressed against the glass and is looking, listening in. And as you're moving closer, its head kind of moves, following your movement.
Okay. I will kneel. So I was like at the same level as the bat because I guess like
no. Well, the bat is at the window, so you know.
Okay, I thought like it was like at the lower part of the window, like so it could like stand. But it's fine. Like then I will just like look at the bat and just try to figure out like what it wants. Well, I guess I know what it wants. It spies, but like who it belongs to, and I just look around and look at the bat.
But just to be observing you, occasionally turning its head one way and the other. But if you move, following your movement,
I'll tap on the glass.
Doesn't move at all, doesn't react to it.
I'll open the window.
But hesitates. And stays in the air, flying just outside the window, but not going inside.
I just shake my head.
You hear Hannah say, "What's going on?" And she stands up to come up to the window.
And I just say, don't get scared. It's just a bat.
She comes up to the open window, wrapping herself with her arms clearly from the cold that is now coming in from the outside. And the bat sits on the outside, on the windowsill, and observing you, registering Hannah, focusing on her for a moment, and then back to you.
I'll try to touch the bat.
Roll your charisma and animal can. With difficulty...
I have no animal can.
8.
My charisma is 3. Okay. So
Better be real charming.
I have 1 success, 1 7. I forgot the difficulty, so
No, it was 8.
okay. In that case, nada.
In which case, the bat moves back from the windowsill into the air, makes a circle, and comes back to circling very closely to the window, but not quite going in. Hannah is observing it. It's behaving very strangely.
Yeah, I think it's just I don't know. It might not be normal bat. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I don't know. Some of our people they can communicate with animals and ask them to act as spies.
Someone's spying on you. Janina, we need to get out of here.
It's okay. Calm down. Just calm down. I'll close the window, and I'll close the window.
You close the window, and the bat immediately taps on it again, and looks pressed against it, just glued to it.
Okay.
Hannah is looking at the bat, not panicking, but visibly unnerved by this.
Let's just go to another room.
She follows you into another room. Which room you go to? You just go to the kitchen?
The room without a window.
That's the bathroom.
Yes.
She walks with you to the bathroom.
And
asks, "What now?"
Just don't panic. It doesn't really mean it doesn't mean that it's someone who wants to hurt us. It can be just someone from the people we know. You never know, and you don't have to worry.
Do you think it could be that woman who came here?
To be honest, I have no idea who that was, so it's hard to tell. I don't know. I'm just not sure what to do in this situation, but I don't think you should worry about that. If we will go to the hotel tomorrow.
Okay.
Just be fine. It's fine.
Who could be spying on you?
I don't know. I really don't know. And I think Janina, she doesn't really know. I think she guessed it might be someone from the Sabbat or someone from the Camarilla.
These are the options.
Yes, these are the options. I don't think I'm nervous about the bat. I'm just more curious about who that might be. I just hope it's not Nastya, but I don't think she would have to spy on me because she knows where I live. I'm sure she was at the Haven before, so
yeah.
I don't know.
Which means she knows where it is.
Yes, exactly. That makes sense. I'm sorry, I just have a very slow brain today.
Don't worry. Yeah. Hannah listens to you, but thinking, well, if you think it's all right to stay here until tomorrow, that's all right.
Yes, don't worry. If we all see someone suspicious, but it's just a bad. I had crows and dogs spying on me. So it's fine. Just don't worry about it.
So comforting. Don't worry, I get so many things spying on me. I just don't worry
You
about it.
see that Hannah is looking very. Actually, roll perception and empathy.
Okay.
Difficulty 6.
There's sympathy, like I. No, okay, here. I have 4 successes.
So you see, as you're talking, that Hannah is very scared, and the more you talk about, oh, don't worry, it's nothing, like many times someone spied on me, she gets, it really scares her, and she's more unsettled than she was previously.
Okay.
She's holding it together, but you see that she is pretty terrified right now. Just also for you, not just for herself.
I just. Do we have like blinds? Or
You
like
have blinds, yes.
curtains or something like that?
You do, yeah.
So yeah, I just like. So I get out and just put the curtains in front of the window, so the bat couldn't see. Like it still can hear us, I'm sure, but
yeah. So as you do that in the living room, you close the windows, close the blinds. The bat moves to a different window, and you close the blinds in that window, and it does that again, and you close the blinds in a different window. And then the living room is hidden from the outside.
okay. Then I'll just turn to Hannah. Let's just have a nice rest of the evening as much as we can. What time is it, by the way?
There's still some time in the night. It's not like almost morning, but maybe there's like 2 hours left or something.
I guess I'll find some. Is there some like book that I could read to Hannah, maybe?
Yeah, there's some poetry that Felicia brought here some time ago, and some classical literature.
I think I'll just like ask Hannah if we can just like, I will make more tea for her and just like have a chill night where we just read. I will read books to her and just read tea. Oh my god, drink tea, and just I'll try to like make her forget about the bat behind the window.
You try, but it is difficult because from time to time you hear a tapping, and then it's quiet, and then there's another tap, and it continues like that.
Okay. I think like once I feel it, I hear it like for like 5th time, I just get up and I get to the window where I can hear the tapping, and I just like open the window and I just tell to the bat to tell their boss to come and find me.
But
I whisper it so the Hannah doesn't hear it.
the bat turns its head to one side, and then to another, and then back, and flies away.
The animal telephone.
Meanwhile, we'll return to you.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry, I'm just not making very rational sense. I'm not making sense making sense today. So
it's all right. It's all right.
Some days you just gotta have a chill evening.
Yeah. You're sitting there. Anita and Arek are talking in a different part of a courtyard. It starts snowing a little bit, very softly. And at some point, you see emerging from the barracks a man who looks very familiar, although you can't place it. He has fair blonde hair and a blonde beard and dark eyes. And he notices you and starts staring. Doesn't quite coming within, like, reaching distance, but observes you very carefully, tilting his head to one side and to the other.
Sort of watch him for a while. But if he doesn't do anything more than stare, then I'll just sort of keep him within sort of eye line, but sort of go back to looking at the ground around me. I think if there's snow, then I'm kind of tracing shapes into the snow with my finger. As I wait.
You wait for some time, and you hear footsteps coming from the direction of the man towards you.
I look up.
Roll perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
Perception. And what are my rolls tonight? Okay. Does hidden pain or insightful apply here?
Hidden pain.
Okay. Then 3 successes.
Then you see there's a frustration, like, in his face, and that's quite obvious. But you also get a sense that he's trying to figure something out and can't quite make sense of something and is frustrated at himself and his perception of what is happening in a way that's not unfamiliar to you. And then he asks, like, standing close to you, "Who are you?"
Bear?
No, no, you're not Bear.
Who are you?
Right now, I am one who wonders at this familiar and strange being in front of me.
I know you. I don't know where from, but I know you.
You are not Bear. Beatrice Woźniak. My wife, my beloved. She's in the past. She's different. She's very different.
Different how?
She wasn't so lost. You are lost. You can't be her. And she's in the past, and you are here. And you see that as he's saying it, he's trying to make sense of it himself. And he's really frustrated, like something doesn't connect. And he feels like he almost, like he's missing something, or he can't grasp something. And he's angry at himself.
Maybe she changed somewhere down the way.
Change? No. I don't understand. And you see that what you said touches on something there, clearly. But it's like he can't process it and becomes more upset.
I'm sorry I'm distressing you.
Who are you?
I've told you who I am.
No, you're wrong. This is not right.
I'm sorry it's hurting you.
Hurt is necessary to grow and become stronger. And you see, as he says, it's almost like something he heard and is repeating it as a lesson he remembers.
Why does it hurt when I suggest you might have changed?
It doesn't connect.
How not?
Bea was different. And Bea, I know is... No, you can't be. You can't be Bea at any time.
What happened to the Bea that you knew?
And you see this frustration as he's trying to process something and make sense of something and just can't. And then says very angrily, she's left in the past. But you see that he's not satisfied by this, and something just doesn't quite work for him, and he's trying to wrap his mind around whatever is stopping him from acknowledging what you're saying, but seems to not be able to quite grasp it.
The Bea that you knew, I take it she was alive.
She was. She was my wife. Or was she the wife of someone else? I'm not sure.
I don't know. I woke up after my embrace, and that's the first thing I remember.
I remember many things, but they don't connect.
And I remember very little. And it's hazy.
He nods his head, trying to, clearly paying a lot of attention to you.
Now stand up.
One who came out of nothing.
I
No,
suppose
that doesn't make sense.
I must have been alive at some point, and then I died. And now I'm me.
No. How?
I presume because my sire embraced me.
No, how can you be in the past and here at the same time?
I'm sort of thinking about that and trying to wrap my mind around his way of thinking, that it's not really making sense to me.
You have a way to gain more insight into this sort of things if you're interested.
What particular way are you meaning in this instance?
I'm meaning your third dot of dementation, which
Right.
allows you to see somebody, understand somebody's derangement, for example.
That sounds like a great idea.
In which case, roll your perception and occult with difficulty 8.
Oh my god. Today is not my day for rolling. I had 2 successes and 2 ones, so no bloody clue.
So you try to focus your senses to look into him, to try to understand something that he's trying to explain very ineptly, but you can't. Nothing comes.
Does something have to be solely in the past? Can it not move through time? At least
How?
forward.
No, that doesn't connect. How can... And you see that he's trying to think how to explain it. And then this frustration is growing. People and things are fixed. They can't move.
Are you not moving through time? Or are you stuck?
I'm here now, and someone else was here earlier. And someone else will be here later. I am the one in this conversation. And then he just swears in a very sort of normal, common fashion. And then says, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I hope that you'll be able to figure it out. I hope that it makes more sense for you soon.
He nods his head and backs away and sits on some different crate he just pulls out of the barracks. Still glances towards you with a frustration and clearly trying to process something and trying to connect things in his head.
I'll hunch back down and continue tracing shapes in the snow, but occasionally sort of glancing up at him and at Arek.
And how are you feeling? What are you thinking about?
Looking at him makes me feel sad and guilty, but I can't remember why, although him telling me that Beatrice Wozniak was probably his beloved or someone's that rings a bell. That sounds familiar. Sounds like something I'd had some knowledge of. So I feel sad for him. And I feel very, very distant from the Beatrice Wozniak that he knew or thinks he knows.
And you sit there. Sorry.
I also vaguely think about the idea that I could be anyone. maybe I don't have to be Bea anymore. But there's something still there, something a bit deeper. But I don't really think too much more on it after that. I'm still worried about Arek. But although he seems to be at least settling somewhat now.
And you wait. Meanwhile, Janina, the bat, has left. Hannah is clearly listening for another tap and observing you. And then just says, is it gone now?
Yes, I think it is.
That's good. Do you think it will come back?
Oh, I'm not sure, but we are leaving tomorrow back to the hotel, so if it does, we won't be here.
Well, I suppose that's good. Do you think it's safer at the hotel?
Yes, it's definitely safer. And I say it more. I think it's safer there. But I still remember, Sabbat can come there too, but I'm not gonna be bothering her with it. And I think it's safer because there's so many of us there. And also it's like a bigger place where she could hide in case something happened. So I think we spent the rest of the night probably just chit-chatting, reading.
So you aim to do that. But before
Oh no.
sunrise, there is the phone rings.
Okay, I'll pick up.
And you hear Antoni's voice saying, Janina, is that you?
Yes, is that okay?
There is a pause, and then he says, I hope so. She had to leave.
I know. I was just worried something happened. But is that not why you're calling? I guess.
No, I'm calling to ask you what happened yesterday. The last I saw of you, you were fighting Kazimishi.
Yes, I want to talk to you, but I'm gonna be back at the hotel tomorrow. I think it's better for in person.
Of course, but please be here tomorrow.
I'll be here. Yeah, me and Hannah, we will be coming to the hotel after the sunset.
Who's Hannah?
She's my ghoul.
Oh, of course. I'm sorry.
Don't worry. It's fine. I don't think I formally introduced her to anyone outside of my closest people.
Oh, it's all right. Don't feel any obligation to. It's entirely up to you. There's another pause. And then he says, I'm glad you are all right, Janina.
I'm sorry I couldn't save him.
None of us could.
I'll tell you everything that happened tomorrow. I'm glad that you're safe too.
I'm all right. Well enough.
Okay, where I can find you tomorrow? At the Elysium or?
I'll be asked at the reception.
Okay.
I will be at the hotel. What time do you think you'll get here?
we'll start heading back right when I get up. So hopefully we should be there pretty soon. There was a bat, I guess, spying on us, tapping on the window the whole evening. So I think it's going to be safer to be at the hotel.
Definitely. You sure you don't want to come back tonight?
And I look at Hannah.
Hannah is. You don't think she heard what Antoni was saying. She's kind of looking towards you, waiting for you to finish the call.
Okay. Well, do you think I should get back tonight?
Well, I don't know exactly what happened. It's about an hour till dawn, so maybe it's better not to risk it.
Okay.
Not to risk it tonight. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll come tomorrow. We'll be fine.
I know. Yeah, God, I was worried about you, but I don't think she'd be sending something to tap on your window all night.
Yeah. Just don't worry. I'll be back at the hotel tomorrow, early tomorrow, and I'll come find you.
I'll wait for you before I head out anywhere.
Thank you. Take care, and I'm sure Belle's gonna be fine. Okay, she's gonna come back.
I really hope so.
And if not,
Roll perception and empathy. Difficulty. Difficulty actually 7 for you because it's over the phone.
Okay, so 3.
3 successes. Let me roll for him. Yeah, he actually didn't roll very well. So you hear in his voice when he says, I hope so, he hopes that Bea will come back. But it's not that he doesn't expect it will happen, but he is really worried. He has very dark thoughts about that whole affair.
I just say she'll come back, and if not, we'll get her back.
Yes, we will. And you hear that he means it.
I'm not losing anyone else.
No, I hope not. And this time you hear that he's sure that he's going to lose people, although he doesn't want to lose Bea. And he says, take care of yourself, Janina. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, you too. Bye. And I just put the phone down, and I just forget about Hannah for a moment, and I just I feel like it imprints on me a lot of his words, because right now I was just concentrating on Hannah a lot, but now I'm just worrying about Bea again, and I'm just scared, because he's also, I feel that he's scared too, and that affects me because he's the sheriff. He shouldn't be scared. So yeah. But if I notice Hannah with the corner of my eye, I just try to get myself back together and just smile at her. Well, we are expected back at the hotel tomorrow, so I guess we should go to sleep.
Let's get some rest.
Yes, let's. If you want, we can sleep at the same room.
Yes, I'd like that.
Okay. And I go to the room Like I guess like there are 2 beds in each room because
Yeah.
because it was like supposed to be like
Mhm.
for the 3 plus Felicia's. So so I go to my room.
And she goes with you. And you lay down to sleep. And you see that Hannah falls asleep fairly quickly. She must have been pretty exhausted. You think, and you actually realize she probably was awake for most of the day as well and just stayed up with you to keep you company. But what are you thinking about as you're falling asleep?
I worry about her, about Bea, about like the way Antoni wasn't very reassuring about not losing more people. And I think I just start crying over Daniel and just like everything. And just cry myself to sleep, but I try to be like very like silent crying because I don't want to like wake up Hannah.
You don't wake her up, and you fall asleep in tears. Meanwhile, Bea, you see at some point Danka comes back, and she's bringing a woman who now seems to have lost some of the clothing she would have been wearing. She doesn't have her coat on. She has a scarf around her neck that Danka is pulling on quite harshly from time to time as she's carrying the woman who's trying to struggle and crying at the same time. And she just comes up with the woman towards Anita and Arek with a bit of a laugh and just says, "Well, that's dinner for you right here, delivered to the table." And you see the woman just starts crying. She's begging, "What are you doing?" It's like, and Danka just pulls on the scarf, almost strangling her. Arek straightens at that and clearly like perks up. And just takes the woman from Danka and bites in and drinks and drinks to drain her of blood. How are you feeling? What are you thinking looking at that?
It's a weird, complex mix of emotions. I don't like seeing the way the woman's being treated, but I'm glad that he's being cared for. I'm conflicted by just both caring for him and being very uncomfortable and somewhat afraid. And almost wishing someone would stop this, but I make no move to cry out or anything because I don't want to interrupt him.
And gradually, as the night goes on, you're sitting there. You see Casper still observing you, thinking, and you see him draw something in the snow. You think like a line and try to mark things on it and try to make sense of it, but he's looking very frustrated. You see at some point Florian in his priest robe comes in, and he glances in your direction, and then in a completely disinterested way just turns away, and he comes up to Casper and spends some time with him, looking at what he's drawing, and then takes him away somewhere to talk further. You see some clearly young Sabbat start filtering in, a couple of them. Some of them like point at you and laugh. And Anita just looks to you, looks to them. It's like, all right. We'll get to that. You see that Arek, having fed, is flexing his arm, and one of his arms is now back, properly healed.
And I'm glad for that.
You are mostly ignored by people. At some point, Casper comes back out and again goes back to observing you, trying to protest something in his head. You see, again, after he's flexed his arm, Arek disappears to talk to Florian for a bit. And then he comes back to Anita, and he's looking really worried now. And he tries talking to her. And he's like, takes off the jacket he's been wearing and is clearly showing the markings to her. Do you want to try to overhear again?
Sure.
You don't have to, but
I mean, I think I'm a bit concerned seeing him looking concerned, so I think.
Difficulty 6, perception and alertness.
Finally, some improvement. Oh, for heaven's sake. Well, after the 1, that's 2 successes.
2 successes. So you hear, as he came up to her after speaking to Florian and then flexing his arm, he just says, "This is not healing. It's fucking not healing." And you see that Anita takes a moment and examines some of the markings and shakes her head and just says, "Well, listen, you are going to go to the Zimishi anyway. Be very nice like they like, and ask her very politely to please remove it. She will not dismiss you. You're Ivan's protege. She will care. Just make sure you don't offend her." And you see that Arek is nodding his head like, all right, I hope. Fuck. And he looks a bit upset now about this. He's a bit reassured by Anita, but still keeps looking at those markings on his arms and on his torso.
I'm sort of watching him with concern. I'm worried for him.
And some more people filter in. See one other Nosferatu come up to Danka, just push her at the back, sneaking up on her, and they get into a bit of a fight over this, laughing and battering each other. And you see, soon after that, Janko, a man whom you recognize, comes in and just sort of comes in and then takes a look. He cheers for the fighting Nosferatu, and then he looks to you, and there's this wide smile on his face.
Oh boy.
And he starts coming up to you with this long whistle. And then just says, well, hello, and grabs the collar around you. And you see that Arek, like looking to this, immediately starts heading in this direction.
Oh boy.
And Yanko smiles at you and says, it suits you. You look pretty in it. And he leans in to kiss you.
Okay. Well,
what are you doing?
I would like to activate haunting. Can haunting be used to disrupt people? Am I remembering correctly? Briefly. Okay, yeah, I'm not really wanting to do anything long term to him, but just, I guess, prove that I'm not completely helpless like this. So it's kind of like a mental reflex almost.
In this case, spend a blood point.
Okay.
And then roll manipulation and subterfuge with difficulty 6.
Subterfuge. Was that what my good? Is that what all my terrible rolls were leading up to? Is that a 1 or a 7? That's a 1. Okay. I don't think. Nope. Don't think either of those are going to come into that. 2, 4, 5, 6 successes.
6 successes. In which case, he looks to you and steps back a few steps, and stood staring in terror.
And as he steps back, I sort of relax slightly and just wait for him to sort of come to a bit.
And you see that he seems to be something completely different. His whole body tenses up. He's just looking clearly frozen in fear for a moment. And that is when Arek gets there. And he looks at him and he just laughs. Fuck off. And just like pushes him with his just healed arm to the side. And Yanko looks around terrified and scrambles away. And then clearly comes to from this. And you see that some people are starting to just like look in that direction, and the two Nosferatu are just laughing. Anita is just kind of watching without much interest.
Yeah.
You see Gravedigger step in, leaning on his shovel.
Oh God.
And looking. And Yanka is looking still kind of terrified, looking to Arek. Arek is standing there. Tells you to fuck off, or you wanna come at me. And Yanka, gonna make a roll.
Oh boy.
See what he does. Well, he did actually pass. In which case, he, with still this fear and in his eyes and tense up body, he screams this angry scream and jumps at Arek, trying to punch him, and punches him in the face. And the two fall to the ground and start fighting with each other.
Oh fuck.
And at this, you see people start cheering, like clapping their hands, like, whoa, come on, fuck him up. Yeah.
I think I've sort of like taken a step back because, I mean, I can't really go far. And I'm kind of watching in horror because I don't want Arek to get hurt. And I'm sort of watching very, very tense.
It goes on for a while. You see that Yanko is clearly faster, but he's a bit distracted. He manages to push Arek to the ground and jump on top of him, but then Arek grows his claws gradually, and few times, Janko manages to avoid him, and then Arek swipes his claws across Janko's chest, who screams and backs away, and then runs with a scream at Arek again, just headbutting him in the stomach, and they again roll to the ground and scrape at each other. And as this happens, more people become more interested. Basically, the small group of Sabbat who's here, the younger ones are cheering. Florian is looking, clearly assessing. So is Gravedigger. Anita looks kind of amused. The others are cheering. You see Casper joins in cheering as well. They don't seem to be cheering for anyone in particular, just cheering whenever someone lands a punch or
just
manages.
the random violence.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And eventually, as this is going on, you see Gravedigger comes up with his shovel, swings it, and whacks both of them over their heads.
Well,
saying, "That's enough, kids. I still need to make a bed for the princess there," he says, pointing to you. And you see it's not unfriendly in it. He then leans and just kind of dishevels both of their hair, pats them on the heads a bit, and he comes up closer to you.
I sort of relax as I see them, like a sort of caring action going on between them. I think that's when some of the tension leaves me, because I'm no longer scared for Arek as much.
And Gravedigger comes up closer to you and puts his shovel in the ground and starts digging. And you realize that he's digging a grave.
It's in the name, I suppose. I just sort of step back and give him space. And just wait.
Well, he doesn't come up that close to you.
Okay,
but
enough.
He's digging.
I just wait.
And people sort of disperse a bit. Arek is still hovering around, but doesn't really disturb what is going on. And when Gravedigger is done, he looks to you. "You've done good. Now we need to keep you safe from the sunlight." And he takes off the collar, just almost rips it off. It hurts a bit.
I
And
try
then
not to react.
Grabs you and pushes you into a grave. "Sleep well, princess." And then starts putting ground over you, digging you in there. And I would like you to roll courage.
Okay.
With difficulty 7.
I have 2 8s and a 9. I'm okay.
No, you control yourself. You don't panic.
Okay. I think
How are you feeling?
I mean, I think this has gone better for me than I was entirely anticipating. So I'm just glad I'm not being left out for the sun. So I just kind of lie still as the dirt comes, and if I can see Arek from where I'm lying, then I just kind of make eye contact with him as long as I can until the dirt buries me.
And then some of the earth just falls into your eyes and falls onto your face, and you feel the growing weight of earth constricting you and constricting your moves as you are there in complete darkness.
How tired do I feel?
You begin to feel tired. You feel the dawn is approaching.
There's part of me that wants to see Antoni. And I think I end up trying to separate myself from the body that's being pushed down by so much weight. Because I want to see him before I fall asleep.
So, If you want to leave your body, spend 1 willpower and roll your perception and awareness. With difficulty 6.
Perception and awareness. Difficulty 6. 3 successes.
Then you leave your body and you find yourself in Antoine's office and you see him putting down the phone. And he sits in a chair for a moment, staring at the wall, just roll, not appearing to be aware of you.
I just kind of drift closer to him and hover my hand over his cheek.
And still not seeing you, he hides his head in his hands for a moment, and you see the tiredness on his face and the despair and self-disgust and this feeling of being lost and helpless and overwhelmed now that he's on his own and no one can see him that he knows of.
Can I make him see me?
I don't think so. I think you can speak to him if you want.
Okay.
But I rolled for him whether he notices you.
Yeah.
Or he didn't.
That's fair. That's fair. So I just kind of whisper to him, "I love you."
Well, you can speak to him, I think, in his head, so you'd have to roll intelligence and subterfuge.
Okay.
With difficulty 5.
Okay. Intelligence and subterfuge. I can count. Maths is a thing that I can do, supposedly. Okay, yeah. I apparently saved all of my decent rolls for this. That's 3 successes.
Then he looks around, just says, "Bear?"
I'm here with you. I'm just not physically.
Are you all right?
I'm unhurt. Just wanted to see you.
I'm glad. I'm glad to hear from you.
I wish I could be there to hold you.
I miss you so much.
I miss you, darling. I'll leave you be now.
If you can do this, if you need me to come, let me know.
I'll try to remember. Try to remember. I love you so much.
I love you too.
I think with that, I let go and return.
And you
Let her
return.
wait.
And how are you feeling? What are you thinking?
Helpless, lost, confused. I know that I care about Arek. I'm not sure why I've left Antoni. I feel cruel for having left him. And I just want the people that I care about to be okay. So I just lose myself to the pressure that's weighing down on me. And just accept its weight.
And eventually, you drift off into sleep. And I think now we will take a break. It ran a bit longer, the first half, but that's all right. We'll just have a bit shorter second half. Thank you all so much for staying with us. We will be back in about 15 minutes and hope you'll still be here to continue the story of Bea and Janina. We'll see you after the break.
Bye.
And welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And let's jump right back in. It is a new night now, so you can lose the blood for the night. You can tell me what your new total is.
Okay, I have 8 blood now after
Okay.
6.
6. All right.
We're back at spicy territory.
You can regain 1 willpower as well.
Okay, I have 9 willpower.
I'm back at 3. Woo!
And Bea, you can also roll for nightmares.
Oh fuck yeah! Is that willpower?
It's willpower.
Oh yeah, my whole 3 willpower. Great. I think I'm sleeping pretty soundly in my dirt bed. Actually, I've got 2 successes.
Yeah, you are.
It's clearly that weighted blanket effect.
All right. Well, we'll get to you, but we'll start with Janina, who is the first one to wake up. So Janina, you wake up with a vague memory of Nastya being near you, of you feeling safe and loved near her, with vague memory of her touch somewhere from your dreams.
I think I just lay with my eyes closed for a bit longer, but then once I realize it was just like a dream, I get angry at myself and just try to shake it off and just instantly start looking for Hannah around the room while I'm still awake.
So
laying down.
Hannah is not in the room, but you hear her in the kitchen. You hear her actually dropping something, picking it up, clearly doing something in the kitchen. You also see some blood, just small marks from when you were crying on your pillow.
Oh no. Okay, I'll just turn the pillow around.
So you turn it over, hiding
yes,
the marks of bloody tears.
And I just go to the bathroom. I'll just call out to Hannah and just tell her good evening while I'm on my way to the bathroom.
And she calls back, wishing you good evening. And she looks out of the kitchen, but then sees you go into the bathroom, and then she goes back to what she was doing. And you wash your face, washing the marks left by your tears.
I would make myself a bit more presentable within my usual style, and just sigh because I'm not looking forward being at the hotel and talking about what happened and reliving it again, and worried about Belle, worried about Hannah, being heartbroken for Daniel. But I try to practice looking fine for Hannah because I don't want to worry her. And then I get to the kitchen to see her.
So you see that Hannah is just washing some dishes and putting away few bits of bread and some butter and some cheese into the fridge.
Did you sleep well?
Yes, I was very tired. I fell asleep almost immediately.
You did.
How about you? Did you get some rest?
I did.
How are you feeling?
I'm all right. I'm just worried for Bella because she's doing some work. But other than that, I'm fine. And I try to like put up a smile.
Roll your self-control and subterfuge with difficulty 6.
I have 3 successes.
You smile and you put up quite a reassuring face, and you see Hannah seems reassured by it, and just nods her head. So, should we go back to the hotel then?
Yes, if you ate and are ready to go, we can.
I think so. I'll just grab a few things.
Okay.
And you see that she just takes like some simple cloth bag and packs the little bit of food she had in the fridge just into that bag, and from some cupboard as well, clearly packing food mostly, and then says, "I'm ready, I can go."
Okay, let's go then. And we will start our way to the hotel, the shortest way.
As you start walking, she will lean to you and say, "Are you hungry, Janina?"
No, but I should feed just to be safe. And when she says that, I ask her, would you be okay if I fed on the way?
Yes, of course.
Okay. In that case, I will start looking for someone that I could feed from on our way while we are still far away from the hotel.
Roll wit and alertness with difficulty 7.
4 successes.
Easy. So as you are walking towards Poniatowski Bridge, you remember that Bea sometimes fed in this area where people have put up some wooden houses. The quite wooded area where some people live, just near the bridge. And you remember it was usually a good place to hunt, so you step off the road that leads to the bridge onto a path leading to that area, and you hang out there for a bit. And there you find near the river, sitting on just some fallen down tree that's lying on the ground, a man who's smoking and looking over the river. And there's no one else around. He's on his own, deep in thought.
Okay, is he like sitting like that? He's like in front of me, that I'm like behind him?
Yeah, you're behind him.
Okay, in that case, I'll sneak up on him.
Then roll your dex, celerity, and stealth with difficulty 6.
Okay, 3 successes.
Easily enough, he doesn't notice you. You sneak up on him, grab him, and quickly bite into his neck. How much do you take?
Just 2.
And you feed what you know is safe.
And
the man just goes completely dazed, overwhelmed by the kiss. And you control yourself now that you're not hungry.
I'll just rub. If he has like a coat, I will rub it more around his neck. Just pat him on the back and say, "Thank you. I'm sorry," and just leave. Back to Hannah.
Then you leave back to Hannah, who didn't follow you like all the way towards that clearing by the water. maybe not wanting to look at this again. But as you come back, she is a little bit anxious and asks, did everything go all right?
Yes, everything is fine. He's all right. You can check if you want. But
No. I trust you.
okay, then we can. Thank you for looking out for me.
Of course.
I'll take her hand and just walk back to the path on the way to the hotel.
And you walk towards the hotel. Meanwhile, there. You wake up from completely empty, sound sleep. And the first thing you notice is that you can't move. And you can't really open your eyes, and as you do, some dirt just falls into them.
I am quite panicked as I realize this, and I spend a while just trying to think as to how I would have got here. And yesterday is pretty hazy. I think I maybe vaguely remember Arek, but that's as much from yesterday as really remains. So at first I'm sort of scared for myself, and then I wonder where he is, and I'm worried for him. And then I think of Tony and Janina and Roman and some other people. Mother comes to mind very quickly. And I lie there for a while, just in the darkness. I'll maybe try and see if I could scrape my fingers through the dirt a bit, try to make some movements.
You can make a little movement like that.
So I guess I'm sort of slowly working my hands through the dirt and trying to just get a little bit of movement here and there. I'm keeping my eyes shut after my first attempt at opening them. And I'm just slowly moving, trying to see how much I can get my body to move.
You can get it to move it a little. I mean, you can try to fully start trying to free yourself if you want.
Okay.
In that case, please roll your strength and athletics.
Oh boy.
With difficulty 9.
But I'm not on penalties anymore.
You are not on penalties.
Yeah.
It's a new night. You didn't have nightmares.
Go me. Okay. Well, I had a success, but I also had a 1, so not much.
So you try to move, you try to actually, as you move your fingers a bit and your palms a bit, you try to push through the ground and force yourself out, and you just can't. The weight immobilizing you is just too much.
So I'm getting frustrated and a bit stressed. I guess I end up heightening my hearing to see if I can hear anything above me.
Roll your perception and alertness. With difficulty 8.
Yeah, a bit muffled. Oh my god, are we back in bad roll territory? 2 successes, 2 fails. I have no idea.
You hear nothing. Even when your senses extend, they can't extend beyond the earth that surrounds you. And it's quiet and it's dark and you can't move.
Fly back down lying back down is maybe not quite the term, but try to relax my body as much as I can. And I guess start sort of counting the seconds. Every time I get to a minute, I keep a track of the minute. And I just wait and see if anything changes for a while.
You wait like that good hour and a bit more. But eventually, you hear the sound of a shovel above you, scraping through frozen earth.
Okay. I sort of wait for a little bit and see when I can start feeling like a shift in the earth around me. And at that point, I'm going to try and get out again.
Then roll your strength and athletics with difficulty 8 now.
Okay. 1 success.
Then you start from a certain point, the weight decreases, and you start moving, and you manage to get first your arm through the earth, and you feel the air above you that you're through. So you start digging and pushing your other arm, and in this way you are able to start crawling up, pushing some of the dirt off you. And you see, standing above you, smiling face of a Nosferatu with a dislocated jaw, was just smiling at you.
I sort of take a moment to sort of brush some of the dirt out of my eyes and then brush off the front of my clothes, not really making much difference, but just kind of getting the worst of it off, and then sort of look up to him.
And as you are sort of still, you're still scraping it, he raises his shovel and makes a movement as if he was to just shove it with full force into the earth and into you.
I watch him very closely, but I sort of freeze isn't necessarily the right word, but just kind of prepare to see if he does anything further.
Roll your courage to see if you can keep still.
Yeah.
A difficulty 7.
I have 3 successes.
You can. Then he stops just in front of you and pats you on the head, just sort of disheveling your hair even more. All right then, come on out, princess.
I'm a little
We're
confused.
having a party.
And I'm still kind of confused and a bit disoriented, but make a sort of mental note and just kind of nod, taking it in.
And still disoriented, you become aware of fires flashing around you and some screams.
Well, this seems a bit familiar.
And we'll come back to that. Janina, you arrive at Hotel Bristol with Hannah.
Okay. I ask Hannah to go to her room, and while she gets up, I'm going to ask about Antoni at the reception.
The girl there says, "Oh, Miss Shivak, yes, I was informed that you would be coming back. Please follow me."
And I leave him.
And he leads.
Follow him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he leads you just round the corner through a corridor, not very far from the reception, to the door here on the ground floor. And he knocks at the door, opens it slightly, and just announces you to Antoni. And you hear Antoni's voice just says, "Thank you. Please let her in."
And I go inside.
You go inside, and you see Antoni, who stands up from behind his desk. He's wearing a suit right now. You see his coat hanging just on the hanger by the door. He was sitting behind the desk, but now he stands up. He looks to you. Janina, thank you for coming promptly.
Oh, of course.
Please take the seat. Take a seat.
And I sit down. Any news about Bea?
And you see, well, actually, perception and empathy to see if you see anything.
What's the difficulty?
Difficulty 6.
8, so 2 successes.
2 successes. Then you don't really see much on his face. But he says, yes, she spoke to me. I'm not entirely sure how. She said she was here. I could hear her voice, as if in my head. But she was.
Safe.
She said she was for now.
Okay, good. And I think there is like part of me that's a bit jealous that Bea visited Anthony, but not me. But I don't like. It's just a quick, tiny emotion.
Nice.
But I'm glad that she's fine, and I say that. Okay, thank you for telling me. I hope she'll come back soon.
Yes, I hope so. And then he walks around the desk and just sits on the other side of the desk and leans on his hand for a moment and then straightens and says, but I'm afraid we need to talk about what happened when we last saw each other.
Well, I saw that Simichi hurting Daniel, and I wanted to save him, so I just attacked them, and we were fighting, and I managed to get him down and to make him fall into torpor, but
you beat him into torpor.
He did.
Is he dead?
And I feel there's like anger on my face. No, unfortunately, I wasn't able to finish him because Nastya, she stopped me. I wanted to, and I feel bad, but I will probably not say that I wanted to diablerize him, but I just want to say that I wanted to finish him off and like destroy him, but she stopped me, and then I just left. No, then she revived him. I forgot that.
Yeah, she revived him and sent him away.
And she convinced him to leave me alone, and then I just left. So I will probably like tell him everything except the fact that I wanted to diablerize him.
Roll your manipulation and subterfuge just to hide it. Difficulty 6.
I'll spend 1 point of willpower.
All right.
What did you say? Manipulation and subterfuge?
Subterfuge.
Okay, I have 2 successes.
With willpower?
Okay, 3 with willpower.
Yeah, he doesn't realize.
Okay, good.
Doesn't seem to like ask anything more. He seems to have, just respond to what you're saying, not really pause when you said you wanted to finish him off. Just says, well, it's a shame you didn't manage to finish the job, but
I know.
I'm glad you weren't hurt more.
I'm so angry. I just wish he didn't only kill Daniel. He also took Mara from me, my other sister.
Yes, I remember her.
I was so close. And I just visibly start to get like angry and bitter.
Janina, listen. And he starts talking, and then he kind of stops for a moment, but then composes himself and says, listen, I know if you could, you would have destroyed him. And there was a part of me that definitely hoped that is what you've done, and well, that would be one less problem for us to deal with right now. But you also had a lot of luck. I'm glad you managed to get out of there.
I can't believe Daniel's gone.
I know. And I'm sorry.
Sorry.
What are your intentions right now?
Right now, I want him to die.
Well, we don't always see eye to eye, but we can agree on that at least.
And I want Belle safe and back here with us.
That's another thing we can agree on.
That's all my plans for now. I don't have any intentions, plans. But if you need me to help to kill him, I want to help.
I'll keep that in mind. I have to ask, what about Nastya?
Well, I broke things up with her after what happened because, to be honest, I wanted to save her and I wanted to be with her, but not after what happened. Like she had made her choice.
She is a member of the Sabbat.
Yes, I know that.
Now we know for sure.
Yes, I have nothing to do with her anymore.
Good. Maybe it's better if you keep it that way.
I have no interest in seeing her again. I don't wish to hurt her, but I don't want to see her again. I just can't forgive her for just not letting me have that. I guess she didn't love me at all.
Roll perception and empathy again. Difficulty 6.
Okay, 4 successes.
4 successes. Let's see. He has 3. So you actually see that when you say that, there is this instinct, like he almost wants to, like he disagrees with what you say, that she didn't love you, and he almost wants to reassure you and say something, but he doesn't. He chooses not to.
Okay, I'm not saying anything more about that. You don't have to worry about me. I'm sorry I made this mistake. I don't know. I really don't know what I was thinking. I just wanted to see her, and I thought we could just be together, even though we were in different groups. But she made her choice, and I just can't. I'm no longer consider myself being in a relationship with her.
It's certainly a relief to hear that.
I have to keep my goals safe and others that I care about. I just can't be losing people. And it hurts so much that Daniel's gone. He was such a good person.
And as you say that, because you rolled more successes than Antoni now, you see that when you're saying it, he feels guilty. Like very clearly, he feels guilt and frustration with himself. But he just nods his head.
It's not your fault. You were doing your job. And you couldn't expect. I just wish we could have saved him.
No, I didn't expect Zimishi.
I didn't expect Nastya to stab me in the back.
Well, at least now you know.
Yeah. I know. Now let's just hope that Beha will make it back safe. Because otherwise, I guess, we are marching there.
He smiles without any joy at that. Well, I guess we are.
Okay. How long do you think it's gonna take for her to be back? A few more nights? A week? A month?
And you see that as you ask him, he doesn't know. And he's like scared, and part of his dark thoughts are linked to the fact that he seems that he doesn't feel that he controls the situation at all, like it's out of his hands. And he just says, I have no idea. I will try to find something out.
Please, keep me updated if she contacts you again. I'll do the same if she does.
I will.
But it's clearly you who are on her mind more often. And I say it like, but I give him like a smile. I don't mean it like in a mean way, but
he gives you like, he pauses for a moment, gives you a look and says, I'm sure she cares about you very much. I know that.
I know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be mean.
It's all right, Janina.
I'm just glad that she contacted you.
As was I.
Anyway, I'm sure you have a lot of work, and unless you need anything else from me, I'm gonna go attend to Anna.
Just one more thing. I asked Yagoda and Clemens to ask some of, well, his clan who are close to you. I don't think either of them sent a bat to check in on you.
All right, so it was the Sabbat. That's fine. Well, at least we are here now.
Yes, maybe maybe stay here for now.
Yes, I will. I'm not gonna be leaving the hotel except for going to feed or go to the hospital.
It's good to know. Easier for us to keep in touch.
Yes. It reminds me I should probably find Magda and ask her about.
I'm sure she's somewhere around.
Okay, I'm gonna go look for her.
I will tell her sire that you're looking for her.
Thank you. And I pause for a bit and I just... Do you think I can trust her?
He pauses. Listen, Janina. And he kind of comes up to you and leans closer to you and says quietly, I don't know her personally. And it may very well be that a lot of what she expresses to you is genuine. I know her sire and I know some of her clan. And I would advise being cautious around them.
Okay. That's what Zygmunt used to say to me.
Well, he was much more knowledgeable in many matters, and I'm sure he had quite strong opinions on that one. They are, for the most part, loyal to the Camarilla, and Mr. Cernovsky reports to me, but he also reports to his clan, and I know they have their own goals too.
Okay.
Don't be deceived by what seems like nice actions. Be careful.
All right, thank you. And I just nod and excuse myself and leave.
And you leave. And how are you feeling after that conversation?
I feel a bit relieved that Belle made contact, that she's safe for now. I'm sad about having to talk about everything what happened again. It made me feel depressed. And I also feel like that he's depressed too, and it's just like, I feel that everyone's like depressed around me, and it affects me, but there's not much I can do. About the Tremere, he just told me what I already knew from Zygmunt, so that wasn't like a big shocker for me. And yeah, but I'm still very conflicted about Magda, because like my heart tells me she's genuine, but I guess I feel like I shouldn't trust my heart because I got so wrong about Nastya. And
you start walking towards your room.
I'll probably go to the Elysium first because I want to like see Magda.
All right then. Then you start heading there. Meanwhile, there, you see the bonfires burning in the courtyards of the garrison. You see there are a couple of people jumping over. You see Duncan, that other Nosferatu, jumping over the bonfire, and then as they land, the other tries to push the other one into the flames, and they sort of stumble in at some point. The guy comes up, like runs out a bit on fire, then rolls in the snow. Some people start laughing and pointing. You see Arek laughing as well. But then he like looks in your direction and starts walking towards you.
Sort of perk up upon seeing him. The scene before me feels familiar, but I'm confused as to how I got here. But seeing him, I kind of put everything else to the side.
As Arek approaches, Gravedigger just points to you and says, "Well, she's all yours. Just make sure she doesn't run off or something." And Arek just shakes his head. And he approaches near you. You see that his other hand is now healed as well.
Okay. Could I roll self-control to see if I can touch him?
Yes. Difficulty 8.
I have 1 success.
You can make yourself touch him.
Okay, so I sort of lean forward and take his hand and study it for a moment, and then sort of satisfied that it looks like a hand again. Just place it back down on his knee.
He helps you up from the grave and tries to clean some of the dirt of your clothes. It's not going very well.
That's
It's
fair.
not really doing a very good job of it. It's more like patting you and trying to clean you up a bit.
I kind of laugh a little bit at that and just say, I think I'm a little bit beyond saving, but that's all right.
I think you will fit right in.
Thanks.
And then
I look around hazily.
As you look hazily, you see you're aware of some dead bodies lying nearby.
Oh, right.
And some people chained up to the wall quite near from here. And you feel the smell of blood and become aware that you are.
Yeah. Should I make a self-control check?
No, not quite.
Not yet? Good.
Not quite, not yet.
For now.
For now. But you're aware it's just there somewhere. Arek leans in a bit closer and just asks quietly, "How are you holding up?"
Bit confused, but physically fine.
They won't really hurt you. I won't let them.
I smile at him. Just feeling relieved seeing him unharmed again and him not as afraid as he was before.
Perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
Okay. Insightful or hidden pain?
No.
Nope. Cool. In which case, that is a 5 successes.
Then you see very clearly that he's well. He's much better. There's still a little bit of tiredness, a little bit of something tugging at him, maybe putting him at some unease. But he's hopeful. He's energized. He's almost giddy with emotions.
And sort of seeing him like that, I smile and put a hand on his shoulder and just go, I'm just glad to see you doing better.
I am. Thank you for bringing me home.
I'm glad I could.
I will make it a home for you as well.
Thank you. And I sort of look around sort of after I say thank you and see the bodies and the fire and there's some hesitance and some uncertainty, but when I sort of look at him, and I know that I'm here for him, then that makes it more certain. But when I look away from him, it's less comfortable.
As you look around, you see that Anita is heading towards you. And she is accompanied by a person who looks very familiar, who is Nastya.
Oh boy!
You see that Gravedigger is nearby and he's considering you, looking very thoughtful, observing.
Watches Anita and Nastya approach, slightly focused on Nastya. My feelings towards her are a little complicated.
As they approach, Anita just smiles. Arek looks towards them as well, and Anita just offhandedly throws, "If you care about her so much, why don't you just diablerize her and have her forever?" And then someone, like Danka and someone else you don't recognize, as they overhear it, just go like, "Yeah, diablerize her. Yeah, go for it. Go." And you see Yanko kind of throw, "I'll do it if you don't want to."
Right. Okay.
And you see Nastya tag at like Anita's arm, just go like, "Come on, she brought him here." And Arek just stands up, looking at Yanko and the other shovel heads, and says, "Listen, you fucks." And then looks to Anita and says, "And you listen to me as well. Lady Leocadia wants to see her, and I'm going to take her there." And then you hear the shovel head just go like, "Boo! What does she know? Fuck her!" And then Arek just goes like, "You want to take it up with her? You want to take it up with me first?" And you see his claws start to extend from his both hands. And Gravedigger is still watching. He's watching you. He's watching Arek. He's watching the others.
I'm watching Arek quite carefully and watching the others and just trying to prepare for if something does kick off, but the sort of threats being thrown around, I mean, they're uncomfortable, but I'm almost kind of letting them wash over me, just sort of taking in the scene and the behaviors, and I guess kind of figuring out pecking orders and watching behavior.
Wit
Okay.
and empathy.
Okay.
With difficulty 8, but unopposed.
Okay. I have 2 successes.
2 successes. So what you see very clearly is that all the threats and violence, I mean, they are real in a way, and the violence is very real.
Yes.
But it's also a way to relate to each other. There's something almost camaraderie about it.
Okay.
And the line between that and real violence and real threat is very thin, and it blends into one and the other. And you know that things like, like some of the things that are thrown are a way of relating to each other. You also pick up on the fact that Arek is new here, and he's trying to reestablish his position. and the other ones are trying to assert themselves.
Right. Okay.
So there is a bit of this strife going on.
Okay.
And you notice as well that Gravedigger is, they all kind of, they will push it with Gravedigger. There is something almost kind when he looks to all of them, almost protective. But you see that Gravedigger and Anita and Nastya, in a way, all stand kind of above this this show of strength right now. So that's what you would see.
Okay. So I'm not relaxed. It's not the word I would use to describe me, but I'm not taking the threats personally, if that makes sense. Just being very watchful and mindful. I appreciate the way that Gravedigger looks at everyone, and sort of, at least, I mean, there's like, I can sort of respect his way of behaving, even if some of the more violent aspects are a bit out of my comfort zone, but the care under there is visible. But yes, I'm watching the scene quite closely and seeing whether I'm prepared to back Arek up if needed. I'm not convinced I could do very much physically, but like I will try if necessary.
And you see that it goes on for a moment, and Danka and Janko kind of try to make for Arek, and start circling him a bit. And Danka just throws, "What, you're gonna listen to what some lady tells you? Maybe you're gonna go lick her boots as well. Come on. Did you get soft with the Camarilla?" And Arek.
Oh boy.
You see that Arek goes stiff for a moment and then just throws himself at her, and she laughs and starts running and jumps over the bonfire, clearly trying to maneuver him to run in, and to push him there, and he's clearly in frenzy. Right. And some people lose interest in you and start cheering.
There was a brief moment where I sort of like tried to almost reach out for him, but it was like too late. He was gone. And I'm watching him very concerned, and sort of almost go to take a step forward and then sort of glance towards Gravedigger, Anita, Nastya.
And you see that Janko is going for it, and just like, "Oh well, I guess you're all mine."
Oh, right.
And you see his fangs extend, at which Anita looks to Nastya, looks to Arek, looks to him, and steps in front of you.
I think even before she'd done that, I had pulled out my knife, and I was sort of watching him quite carefully, but and I don't. It's more sort of like, I am going to defend myself if necessary. I wasn't fully expecting them to step up for me.
Yeah. Anita does step up and just say, "All right then, easy, Prince Charming. She's for the Zimishi. So just remember that." Good. And as she says that, from your earlier role, you see that she doesn't care massively, but that was the argument that settled it for her, that she doesn't want to get into that.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for that, she probably would be happy to let him go for it.
That's fair, I guess. She doesn't know me.
But
Do I think that's fair? I don't know. It seems fair given the circumstances and the pecking order and the Sabbat. So.
And then she just kind of looks to him and is like, go, celebrate. Our brother has returned. Have some fun, just go have some fun. And Yanko gives you a smile and winks at you and says, I'll see you again. And then runs back to taunt Arek, who's in frenzy. He kind of managed to get Danka and they're trying to hit each other. And Yanko just runs in that way to join in the fight.
And I'm sort of watching that, wanting to like try and help, but uncertain of how to and whether that would be a misstep on my part. Just, I guess I kind of take a move forward towards it and again sort of look back at them to see whether they would stop me. I'm trying to, but
they don't seem to stop you. Anita looks at your knife. She just smiles. And it's not an unkind smile.
Okay.
And then she walks away.
Okay. Right. Well, I'm being left to my own devices then. I guess I will go and try and help Arek as best I can while he's frenzying. There's no way this can go wrong.
So you start heading in that direction. Meanwhile, Janina, as you are heading towards the Elysium, you're walking up the stairs and you hear Yagoda call out, hey.
Turn around. Oh, I guess I recognize her voice. And I turn around to her.
You see her sitting at one of the tables on the balcony overlooking the lobby, wearing her sunglasses now that she's inside, smoking a cigarette. One of her legs is just resting on another chair.
I walk up to her.
I heard you were going to speak to Antoni.
Heard it.
How did that go? Did you punch him in the face?
No. Why?
I almost did. Listen.
No.
You want a cigarette?
No, thank you.
Sit yourself. Won't do any harm now.
I know. I just never got used to that, so seems pointless.
Yeah, probably is. But hey.
But you look cool.
I suppose. Should see some of the looks I got from some of the Storytellers. I'm not really in the mood to care.
Yeah, that's a mood.
And then she straightens herself and takes a leg off one of the chairs and leans towards you. Listen, I'm really sorry about your sire. I didn't know they were planning that.
Thank you. I wish I could save him. Just sick of losing people.
As am I. I know we talked about that. I didn't think anything would happen so soon.
No, me neither. I just don't know what to do.
Can you speak up a little bit, Dolores?
Okay, sorry. I just don't know what to do. I'm worried about Bear right now. And
What's going on with her?
she's on a mission, and it's a dangerous one. There's
Is that
nothing.
for Antoni? I don't believe this. I don't believe he would send her into danger.
I think she volunteered, and wasn't really up to him. But I know he's worried too. But we have to believe that she's gonna come back, because if
Shit.
not, then I guess it's a trip to the Sabbat Haven.
Is that where she is? Or might end up?
I'm not really sure, but I think it is.
Shit.
No.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, shit just keeps happening.
Yeah.
If she doesn't come back, and I'm not gonna die, then I think I'm gonna be following the advice of your sire and just go to the forest.
She considers you for a moment. And then says, listen, if you're gonna do that, the hardest thing will be staying out of the sun.
Yeah.
You can't do what my sire can do,
I know.
but it is not a problem. I'm not advising this, but if you are going to go on your own, I think autarky is what they call it. Our country is full of Sabbat, and they roam around, so be wary of them. Don't go into the forest. Go to villages, small towns. Find rooms, cellars you can stay in. Be careful, because a lot of people, I don't know what it is, but I've seen a lot of people, they take out a cross and can hurt you with it.
Well, thank you. Thank you for all your advices.
They're superstitious. They know what a vampire is. They're wrong for the most part, but they know who wants to hurt us. And they have a lot of sharp farming implements. So be careful.
Thank you.
And your second problem will be getting blood. So don't stray too far from human settlements. And don't stay in one place for too long.
Okay, thank you so much.
Don't go to Krakow. From what I hear, it's full of Sabbat.
Right. Yeah.
I hope it won't come to that, but you should know. You should be prepared.
Thank you.
And consider these things.
Thank you.
In case you decide to.
I appreciate that. I appreciate your advices. For now, I just hope Bea comes back. And it won't have to come to that.
I hope she will. And I'm really sorry I couldn't protect Daniel.
Thank you. It's not your fault, and it's not Antoni's fault. It's the Sabbat fault.
Well, perception and empathy. Difficulty 6. She's not hiding anything.
Okay, but I have no successes, so
So you don't see much. She just sort of nods her head and says, yeah, I think it's better if we focus on Sabbat.
yes.
If you need to angrily vent, you can come to me.
Well, thank you. And I just get up and nod to her and leave her to her cool smoking persona. And
You see she puts her foot back on the chair and just leans back.
I give her a sad smile and just leave.
And you're heading for the Elysium.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Bea,
Back to this mess.
you are about to join Arek to go and help him. And you just hear, wait.
I turn and look to see who's talking.
And you see Nastya, a woman who looks familiar, with long, wavy blonde hair, now loose, wearing long red skirt, partially torn in a few places, and just a black shirt, the sleeves of which were just torn off.
I look at her very closely. It's a strange mixture of emotions when I look at her. There's both sort of a feeling of somewhat caring for her, also being angry with her. And I'm frustrated at her stopping me, but I do stop and listen.
And she takes you by the arm and starts leading you towards one of the barracks.
I'll roll self-control to see
Difficulty
if I can let
7.
Yeah, I've got a couple of successes. I'm good. So I allow her to touch me, and I do glance back over my shoulder towards Arek, looking at him worriedly.
You see that Arek has been pinned down by Danka, and Janko is leaning in to punch him in the face, but Arek is struggling and he has his claws out, and you see the claws manage to reach into Danka's shoulders and rake through. And some people are just gathered around cheering. You see there's Florian there just watching, and Gravedigger watching and cheering.
Okay. I think I'm sort of looking more to Gravedigger because he cares. So I think I make the decision when I see he's overseeing, I'm going to trust him to have Arek's best interests as much as I can in this space.
Roll your wits.
Okay.
Difficulty 8.
Just wits. Okay.
Just your wits.
I have a single success.
You have a single success. So you're looking to Gravedigger overseeing to Arek. And you get the thought that you're worried for Arek, that he's in danger, that he was treated badly by some. You get the sense earlier. And you remember what you still remember a very recent thought as you were observing them, that he's trying to reestablish his position and show he's strong. And you have this realization that it is all about showing you're stronger than someone else. And that if you really want to help Arek, you can't support him in a fight. You need to create a situation where he can show he's stronger than someone else.
Okay.
You need to create a situation for him. And it becomes this obsessive thought at the back of your mind. You need to set someone up for him so that no one will realize.
Okay.
But not someone who would be easy to beat as well.
Okay. I'll clarify that later in my notes. Okay.
But as that thought starts tugging at you,
It's Nastya pulling me away.
Nastya is pulling you away. Yes. And she smiles at you, looking at your knife, and says, "You look eager for a fight."
I will defend my friends.
What are you doing here?
That's a good question.
Yeah. I know it wasn't you in the Sabbat Haven earlier. What are you doing here?
I woke up in the earth.
She pauses for a moment. Have you seen Janina? How is she?
She's heartbroken.
And you see pain on Nastya's face.
I think back and the sort of hazy memories of Janina's voice. From talking to her over the phone. I think she's all right, but hurting emotionally.
And Nastya just nods her head, looking sad.
What are you doing here?
This is where I belong. This is my home. Roll perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
Okay. Perception and empathy. Hidden pain or insightful?
Insightful.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 successes.
Then you see very clearly that as she says that, it's not untrue. She feels it. But there is this uncertainty somewhere, some other part of her where she is almost confused about the statement which she believes. And you see right through her, she's not hiding anything. When she looks to the others, there is certain fondness there, certain relief to be back. But underneath it, you see there's confusion and some guilt and trying to arrange something in her head. And as she talks about Janina especially, you see that she's also heartbroken. And there's very raw pain somewhere in there. She's not pretending it's not there. She is very much hurting about Janina. And you see that she's worried about you, and that is also tied to the care for Janina. And worried about you as she looks to the rest of the pack.
I sort of look to her as she says that it's her home. It is, but there's something wrong as well.
Many things are wrong.
As she says that, I glance over the scene of many bodies being hung up around us and the bonfire and the screaming, and then glance back to her.
And as you glance to that, because you had such a good role, you see that these are not quite the things that bother her, maybe a little. There is some of that. But there's something deeper that troubles her, some deeper guilt, some deeper hesitation. And she says, I know I hurt Janina.
Yes. Because that makes the anger make sense at that point.
But I love her so much.
Good. If you didn't love her, then I'd be a lot angrier at you. Not that that would do much, I say, sort of looking around the room. I read the room.
Well, listen, I don't know why you ended up here.
I need just to care for Arek.
You're with him, yeah. I saw that.
He's my friend. And I say that with more certainty than I have done beforehand, although there is still some sort of complicated feelings under there, but he is my friend. He was willing to stand up for me. There's still some hurt there, and I don't remember where the hurt comes from. And there's still some guilt there, but he is my friend, and I care for him.
And Nastya nods her head. I can see he cares about you. He really wants you to be one of us. And then she leans very closely and whispers in your ear. But between you and I don't think this is a place for you. I think if you get a chance, you should return to Janina.
I don't think I can do that. Not after. And I look towards Arek. Not after I saved him.
You have to listen to me. This is not a place for you.
Not as I am. And I say that with sort of an acknowledgement, because it makes sense with some of the things that I've been told, which I may not necessarily remember the context, but I can become other people. I could become someone else.
And you see very clearly, because of your role, that she doesn't believe it. It's not that she's worried about you. And when you say that, she nods her head, as in she considers maybe that maybe there is a chance. But it is quite clear that she doesn't think you have it in you. And she glances to Florian and clearly remembers something, and this certainty that this is not a place for you just settles, and she just looks to you worried but doesn't argue any further.
And I look to her. I'm sick of being afraid all the time.
And she looked to you with certain sadness and says, "That's a good start." But she's not convinced
No.
still.
And I'm not certain. I mean, I'm pretty sure that I think she's probably right, but I'm not willing to leave Arek. And especially when he's in sort of a precarious moment. And sort of looking over to him, in some ways, whether or not I fit in, that's not my priority. My priority is him. And then I think of Mother. I look to her. And I need to find my sire.
And she looks very sad. When you are looking at Arek, you see that the fight is now over.
Okay.
It has been kind of inconclusive.
Okay.
You see that Janko is in the best shape. Danka is bleeding from various places where the claws got her. Arek is, some of his clothes, some of his skin is a bit burned. And they're all laughing together now, kind of pushing each other.
Okay.
And Nastya just looks at you quite sadly, and you see that Anita gestures at her. But before she leaves, across the bonfires, you see 3 other people emerge from inside the barracks, have just arrived. First comes a stunning-looking woman with very long red hair, falling through her back all the way to her thighs. And she's dressed in a black skirt. And then there is what looks maybe like golden paint or something sticking to her torso, wrapped around her. And then next to her, following her, you see your mother, Felicia, across the flames. And next to her, holding her arm, is you, dressed very elegantly, just like Felicia, chatting with her.
Mm.
Meanwhile, Janina, you're heading towards Elysium and you're looking for Magda.
Yes.
So as you enter, you see that she is there. She's sitting with Conrad, but they're not really chatting. You see that Conrad is looking through some book, maybe looking at like an album of photos. And she's glancing over his shoulder. And then she glances towards you and smiles.
Smile back at her.
And she stands up, says something to Conrad, and starts heading towards you.
I'll wait.
So she comes up to you, looking concerned, but reassured also to see you. Just says, "Janina, I'm glad you made it back here."
Thank you. I appreciate you calling to checking up on me. So I decided to come and find you.
Did Hannah get to you okay with the
Yes.
blood?
Yes, she did. Thank you so much for sending it.
Do
She's
you
now
need
now
anything more? I brought some to the hotel just in case.
Oh, thank you. I fed on my way back, so I'm fine right now. Thank you. I was wanting to ask, how was the staff at the hospital? I haven't been there, I think, for a few days.
It's been going well. Hannah is learning. She can do the basic tasks now. She can't quite prepare the solution, but I've done a batch that she can use. I think she got used to handling the bodies. She's not so unnerved anymore. And she's doing well enough with extracting blood. Sometimes she needs several tries to get it flowing, but she's doing better.
Oh, thank you for teaching her.
Of course. I've been helping as much as I could.
I know. Thank you so much.
Mr. Potocki was asking about you.
I know. I want to come to the hospital maybe tonight, if you want to go there as well.
I could do, definitely.
Okay. Then can you go, let's say about in an hour?
Yes, no problem at all. I'll come with you.
Okay.
How are you feeling?
I'm sad because Daniel's not around anymore.
Yes, of course, this was stupid of me to ask.
No, don't worry. It's okay.
No, I'm sorry.
But I'm worried about Bea. But everything's fine. I'm here.
What's happened? Oh, I think I've heard about Bea.
Yeah,
she's working. Yeah.
Yeah, she has difficult work task. Just hope she's gonna be safe.
Can you speak up a little bit, Dolores?
I just hope she's gonna be safe. I'm sorry. Whenever I try to be sad, I always talk very.
Yes, I noticed
very
that.
very silent, because that's what I would do in real life. I forgot what I was saying, but
about Bea doing a task.
Yes, that I just hope that she's gonna come back safe, that I can be losing people.
I hope so.
How are you doing?
I'm better. It's good to have something to focus on.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I want to go to the hospital and to work.
Happy to go with you.
Thank you.
Company.
Yes, please, and don't let me go away.
I will not.
Please just stay with me there in case. I don't want to leave without telling you that I'm leaving.
Of course. Thank
you.
Yeah, I'll make sure that doesn't happen.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm gonna go to see Hannah and tell her that we are going to the hospital in case she wants to go as well. I bet she does, but we'll see.
Of course. I'll see you in about an hour. I'll be waiting downstairs.
Thank you. And I just glance around the Elysium and turn around.
You see the usual. You don't see anyone else you would be close to around. You see some of the Toreadors there. Nina smiles at you, but she is in a conversation with Anna Maria, and looks maybe like she wants to stand up, but then Mihail glances at her and she doesn't. And then you leave. And how are you feeling? What's on your mind after talking to Magda, to Jagoda?
I think I'm just depressed over Daniel. I think that like the grief is the main emotion and worries about Bea. I appreciate the fact that I still have people that seem to care about me. And that made me feel like not good, but I don't know, like I'm not alone. But other than that, it's just hard for me to stop thinking about Daniel. So I think I'm just trying to distract myself and hoping that working in the hospital will help me, because I just think about all the people that I've lost: Mara, Zygmunt, Daniel, and there's just like dread in me that I'm gonna lose Bea.
And you walk towards your room with that fear, as Bea is looking across the bonfires on her sire. And I think that is a good place to finish for tonight. Thank you both so much for
Thank
playing.
you.
And thank you to everyone who's been watching. We really appreciate you joining us for another episode in this story. We will be back in 2 weeks. So on the 23rd of July at 6:30 p.m. British Summer Time here on the Lamias channel. We hope you will join us again to see what happens next to our kindred, for our kindred, to our kindred. And until then, keep well and good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.